Where are we going?
We, my beer babes, are off to the lovely coastal town of Burnie. We're heading down there to have a chat to Andrew, Communion Brewing, and my goodness, we're excited.
I thought we were going to the Wizard to get Declan a brain.
What?
Alright, you can cut that too if you want.
We don't have to ask you for codes for you, Billy, because that's pretty brave.
Hey beer babes, enjoy this episode at Communion Brewing, which is currently an active work site, so you'll hear lots of banging and bashing and sounding in the background, but it is an awesome episode. I've cleaned it up as best as I can.
Hey beer babes, we have hit the road and we've come down to the sunny coastal town of Burnie, and we're here at Communion Brewing with Andrew.
Hi.
We are super excited to come down. This has been in the works for a little while, and we want to know a little bit about Communion Brewing. So before we go too crazy, I thought maybe I'd start with what's your background in beer?
Drinker, mainly.
Yeah. Okay, good.
I have, it's always good to start with that, isn't it? It's like coffee people that don't drink any coffee, it's like, what are you doing? No, so I just like good food and good beer and good whiskey and everything in between, and all of that revolves around people. And so as long as there's fun people and really nice things, then I'm there. So my background is actually hospitality, so way back when I did Drysdale and Hobart, turned it into a degree in hospitality, actually have a degree in hospitality, which is pretty weird, but then I didn't use that at all for, as you do, for 10 years, and then came back to it, opened a cafe up around the road there, so it's just up the corner there, called The Chapel, where The Chapel is all about making everything from scratch. So if we can make this from scratch, we'll do it. So all of the bread, we roast our own coffee, all the cakes are baked on site, all of our sauces, as much as possible, we did it on site. And after a couple of years, I was serving obviously lots of nice Tassie craft beers, and I thought, it can't be that hard.
I could do this.
I could do this. So I just bought a Braumeister, 50 litre Braumeister, and set up, so walled off a third of my shed, and set up a couple of proper, jacketed fermenters hooked up to a dry cold chiller in the shed, and just set about developing some recipes. Put a tap in on the bar, and just sold tap beer through the chapel that's what I've been doing for the last 2 years. So it's that was sort of before that I hadn't brewed at all. Just self-taught, read the books, done a couple of courses, but nothing too massive, like Rockstar Brewer with Hendo, and a couple other little bits and pieces. I'll tell you about Neil Cameron, who's the boutique guy who's helped me here. But that's my background, so it is hospitality. This venue is about, obviously it's about the beer because we have all of this, which is a fair bit of stainless for something that's not about the beer, but really it's more about the venue, the vibe, the atmosphere. That's my thing, is
socialising.
And hence the name Communion. It's all about good things shared. That's what Communion means.
Yeah, that's awesome. I feel like that's something that goes sort of hand in hand with craft beer too.
Absolutely.
All the best places have an awesome tap house. And I feel like that's something that craft beer's really brought to drinking. It used to be you went to a dodgy old pub. Whereas now you've got these amazing venues serving all these really interesting beers. And it sounds like that's what you want to get started here.
And also when people try and start out a bit of brewing, they normally get the old plastic tub and try and brew. When you first started brewing, it sounded like you pretty much went full legit.
Yeah, look, I'm a bit of if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing.
Do it right.
Do it
right.
It's just
we're going to have 6 or 7 back.
Oh my gosh,
So, any of those shed recipes made it here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, seriously, it's all of those recipes, various iterations of them, obviously. We're in the shed, it was 100 batches down. So we over that sort of 18-month period, it was 100 batches. Most of them are double run. So because I had 100 litre fermenters, so I'd run the Braumeister twice to fill them. Towards the end of it, I bought a 150 litre, 250 litre conical jacketed fermenters so that I could get the hang of using these.
Baby steps.
Baby steps, and went with that, and so I could develop the recipes for those.
Yep.
And so it was always significant, and those recipes like got an actual pretty good following through the chapel.
Yep.
And so we're kind of like keen to keep that as much as possible, and just tweak it for this system.
Yeah, and I'm sure you would have got a lot of feedback from all the patrons that you had over there at the chapel as well, and giving feedback and kind of, were you ever like kind of tweaking the brew and everything as you're going along?
Of course, you know, I'm making beer for drinking, not for being snobby about, and so I want to be able to kind of down it and be happy to do that, and not be sort of too kind of like, oh my gosh, it's this, that, and the other thing. So
Tune into what the people want.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Look, I mean, some stuff is, you know, not everyone's going to like coffee porter because it's pretty intense.
Until they drink it, and they might.
That's true.
That's it. Open your mind.
You know, the whole kind of gateway beer thing is, you know, definitely the case where you've got the lager and the pale ales that are like, my pale ale is pretty easy. That's what you've got there.
I've got the local expert right here.
Yeah, so it's not a bitter American pale ale style, it's more Australian pale ale. You can just like knock it back.
Yeah, very drinkable and not overly fruity either, just nice. It's like mild, but like it's not boring either. Like it's really nice. Yeah.
Not boring, just drinkable. I've nailed it.
Exactly. That's what it's for. And that's great. I suppose like that sessionability is something you want when you're opening a bar.
I know, exactly. Yeah. And that has been
kind of introduced into some other stuff as well.
That too. Plus, you know, a 7% IPA, how many of those are you going to be able to have? Versus that, like, I'll have a couple of those, and it'll be good. So that's the idea. And it'll change, and we'll develop new things. Because I am a total rookie, and there's no two ways about it. And so I'll take on all the feedback and advice from, you know, beer people as much as I can soak up. It's a miracle I've got this far, but
if we find any beer people, we'll send them your way.
I don't think you need our help though.
So it's so cool to see the way the craft beer industry has been sort of growing over the last 5-10 years. And everybody's sort of bringing their own little bits and pieces. What is it in particular that you want to bring to sort of the Tassie craft beer scene? Because the Northwest is really booming. There's lots of really good places. So what is it that you want to bring to that?
Look, I think I touched on it before in that it is that kind of whole experience. Look, you know, because I'm not going to put myself out there and say, look, you come here and you have this is the best beer that you're going to have all year. These aren't trophy winning beers or anything like that. I mean, we've got medals. Like it's been quite surprising. Like silver, sweet.
I'll take it.
I'll take that. Like most of these actually have a medal. But it's for me, it's not about that. It is about people sitting down and enjoying themselves. I have to make the best beer that I can make, and so my philosophy is always the next batch is always the best, and I'll roll with that. But for me, what I'll bring to the Tassie scene is Burnie beer. So that, you know, and I'm not looking for distribution. I don't want. You probably won't find it in bottle shops in Hobart or even in bars in Hobart. If you want it, here I am. And so that's sort of. This is not a big operation. I mean, it's reasonably sized, but it's only a 500 litre brew house.
It's definitely grown from the shed.
It's a little bit bigger than the.
So, did you want to? I think that's a good. Let's sort of talk us through the actual brewery here. So you said you've got. Did you say 500 litres?
So the brew house is 500 litres. So I've got a 3-vessel 500 litre system. So most systems are two vessel. The extra splitting it out means that I can chase a batch through. So it's double batching. So all of my fermenters down there are all 1,000 litres. So if I only brew once into a fermenter, it will come up halfway, which is. The idea was that I could choose to do a 500 litre batch if I wanted, or fill it and do 1,000. The way that it's turned out is that you actually have to do a 2/3 batch. Otherwise, it doesn't work because there's too much headroom in the tank. And for example, a 500 litre batch comes up to about here. And
So most of it's in the cone then, isn't it?
Yeah,
A lot
and
of it's
There's still a lot there.
And the next, the temperature sensor for this tank is actually about there.
Oh, so yeah, okay.
And so it doesn't actually reach the beer, and so it doesn't work. So you have to be able to, you have to kind of put, say
that other
650, 700, which is fine. We can do that. I haven't done it yet, but it'll work.
Yeah.
And but I just sort of figure, well, we might as well fill it up.
Yep.
Particularly now when most breweries open and then run out of beer instantly.
Yeah.
I'm trying to not do that.
Yeah, naturally. I think everyone.
So yeah, it's a Brewteak system. So that's an Australian company. Neil Cameron and Gavin Troxler are the guys that supplied this gear. Neil's an industry legend, and he came down and commissioned it for us and taught me how to use this over the little baby one I have at home.
Yep.
So
That's just a slight upgrade.
yeah, just a slight upgrade. So it's about a if you do a single batch, it's about 8 hours, and if you double batch it,
Yep.
Single batch more 7 hours, and if you double batch it, you can get 2 out in 8 or 9 hours.
Yep. I can't even fathom the technicalities of it all, really. When I mentioned before about the plastic barrel, that's pretty much as far as we've ever gone.
Yeah.
So it's
Plastic
all
barrel.
exciting for us. But the building itself is also got a bit of history as well, you're telling us earlier.
Yeah. So the building used to be one of Burnie's big car sales yards, and so you'd come here back in the day where you would buy your car from the place. They would service it for you. They would fill it up with petrol for you. Like there was a petrol bowser on the street out front, and like it was that kind of that old, where you buy your car for £100 sort of thing.
Good old days.
The good old days,
How
and
much is
then
a car these days?
just a little bit more than £100 or whatever they paid for it. But then it was a tyre place, and then a Xerox shop most recently, and then it's just sort of sat here for a few years looking sad. So we've given it a bit of a spruce.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll say that pretty much what is it? Maybe a third of the building is restaurant space, so it's a 120 seat restaurant.
Wow.
So it's quite big. Everyone walks in here and is like, oh, this is quite big. I'm like, and then we'll have the beer garden out the back too, which will be another 50 or 60 seats on top of that.
And summer's right around the corner, so looking forward to that.
That is the plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if it's winter, I'll just put my puffer on.
I wasn't concerned. Everyone's like, oh, surely you'd wait till summer to open. I'm like,
That's it. I think the beer tastes good all year round. Like I don't think you really need to wait for summer.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what temperature it is.
Yeah, exactly. No, very, very true. Particularly, coffee porter summer. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not
Delicious beer.
Well, one of the brews that I'll put in next will be a oatmeal stout, which
oatmeal.
Yeah.
A little sweeter as well.
Yeah, just like nice and creamy and not too heavy and dark. That sort of similar, maybe 6% or 5.5%, 6%. So, but that's coming into summer, obviously.
Yeah. It's seasonal.
Yeah. But anyway, it's normally winter beer, but the demand for it is everyone's like, hope you're doing a stout.
Yeah.
I guess I'd better do my stout then. It is popular.
You got to keep that 3% of the population.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
And the good thing is it keeps, so it's fine.
Yeah, and that's it. I feel,
exactly.
That's it. I feel like it's interesting. It seems like stout people are like the noisy minority of beer drinkers.
Don't
like,
forget us. We're still here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Put your hops away and make me a stout.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when we were at Tandy's talking to Byron, he was telling us that if you don't have a stout on tap, that people will leave.
People will leave.
So
you just got to keep those.
So
people
you've got to have
Hopefully the coffee porter keeps them happy for the time.
Yeah, exactly.
100%.
Hold them over.
Yeah.
So is the plan to exclusively have communion beers here?
Yeah, that is the plan. So I will. I do want to share the love. And so we've got Buttons down the road, and of course Penguin Beer, who are going to be brewing under the Island State in Devonport. It would be. The plan is definitely to have all of our own beers on tap. But I do want to have those guys as well, just to keep the coastal thing going.
Keep the family happy.
So we'll have 12 taps at least. I'll try and squeeze a couple more in as well, because I've got to put a cider on, and I'm looking to brew a ginger beer, alcoholic ginger beer as well. So.
I do like the sneaky ginger.
Yeah, I know. Well, it is good. I'm beer through and through, but there is a time and a place, and there are a lot of people that do love it. But I want to do a proper proper brewed one, not
Yep.
a chuck some vodka into the sort of one.
Yeah, the flavoured kind of just.
Yeah,
tastes like it's
yeah,
just-
it is what it is, and that's fine. But yeah, I'm still working on the recipe though, so
Yep.
you might never see it because it never worked.
We'll happily try it for you.
Yeah, I know. There's a few people that put their hands up.
Yeah,
so it
I'll
should be
put my
right.
hand up.
Yeah,
That's actually a good segue. So as a beer lover,
Yeah.
what would be your number one type of beer that you normally flock to? Like if you
It's
had
really
to narrow
hard,
it
isn't
down,
it? I at the moment, if I was gonna call out a beer, it's gonna have to be a brewery rather than a beer. But you'll get me in a second.
yeah. Yep. Okay.
Range Brewing in Brisbane.
Okay.
I just love their beers. Their
Yeah, okay.
hazy, crazy, triple stupid IPA beers are just delicious.
Yeah.
That fruit juice looks like you could stand a spoon up in it.
Oh, yeah.
Thick.
Yeah, I'm really keen to learn how to brew something
Yeah,
like that.
okay.
Yeah.
It's a pretty different style because you basically throw everything you know out the window, and then because this is all about clarity and all that sort of stuff, and that is just brew something that's super low bitterness and just chuck in $1,000 worth of hops into the fermenter and hope for the best.
We've been on a bit
Wow,
of a hazy tear. So,
Yeah.
we'll be very excited to see
Yeah, we
see a
recently
local
just-
one of those.
Yeah. We recently just opened up the hazies, and we actually didn't realise how much. Yeah, hazies.
Yeah, they're great. I
Really
love
it.
good type of beer.
Get a hold of a mixed carton from Range. It will
Yeah,
blow you.
definitely.
I
Definitely.
will.
Yeah. And
You need to get on that.
Yeah,
They,
for sure.
well, their little brew pub up in Brisbane really kind of got me going for this too, because
Good inspiration.
yeah, I do, it's really, really cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of breweries in Brisbane now that are really smashing it.
Yeah.
But that one,
Yeah, that one
Yeah,
takes
that's the one.
yeah. So it's not, I wouldn't drink it all day, every day. I chase a really nice crisp lager at the moment. Like a really good, well brewed craft beer lager is what I chase now.
Okay.
Because that's just what I want. When I get home, I just want to
Yep.
empty one of those,
Relax. Have
and
one
then
of
I look in the
those.
back of the fridge for the Range and be like, oh yes, and you
Yeah.
settle down because
Yeah.
they do hit pretty hard, most of them about 8%.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, your hazies do sneak up on you.
Yeah.
They're pretty strong.
And they're Range Brewing's 440s
Okay.
or 500s,
Yeah. No messing
so
around.
it's like you feel it.
Yeah, you do. You get the sleepy beers set
Yeah.
up in pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well,
The floor grinder in the background. Yeah.
well, Andrew, we can't take up any more of your time. You got to get back on the tools so you can open this place up so we can come back.
Yeah.
What's I know it's all very vague, but do you have an idea of when you're hoping to be open?
Yeah. End of September is the aim. Likely that it won't be, but you've got to aim for something.
Yep.
Exactly.
If it's going to take too much longer than that, we'll open the beer garden first.
Okay.
Because that's just a matter of a couple of kegerators and some fairy lights, and
Yeah,
at least then we can pour some beers.
You can fix anything with fairy lights.
Exactly,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
This is what I'm going with. You get it.
Yeah.
And because I can't really kind of, if this is going to take months and months, which there could be something
Yeah.
that will just hold us up, and there's nothing I can do about it. Particularly, COVID times.
Yep.
I've been super lucky. We've gotten all the building materials, all the tradies are here. Even this stuff turned up before the shipping went to absolute crap.
Yep.
It was still, my containers cost twice what they would normally
Yeah.
cost. So normally it's $4,000 a container from China, and I paid 8.5.
Yeah.
So it's pretty brutal.
It's the time we live in. Yeah.
But at least I got them,
Exactly.
and it's all good. So I've been really lucky. So I'm hoping that we can just keep pushing through to the end.
Yep.
But there's going to be things like next week I have to take a whole week off to fill the tanks again. So there won't be any paint going. My dad's coming down from Queensland to paint.
That's
Hey,
good.
Dad,
Sweet.
thanks for coming down.
We'll send
He
him
was
the
meant
link.
to, yeah.
You've
My
been
mum
called
too,
out.
yeah. So he was meant to come down a few weeks ago, but obviously Brisbane went to crap. So
Yep. Yeah.
he's coming down now. So at least there'll still be stuff happening while I'm brewing.
Yeah.
And then I should have beer to sell when we open, because we'll have the 6,000 litres in the cool room, and we'll have another 6,000 litre in tank that'll be ready to keg.
Yep. Big grand
and
opening. You can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll have to be there.
That's it. We'll be here.
Should be enough.
We're
Yeah,
from Launceston, so you be Desi, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I'll drive.
sweet.
Look at all this room out the back there. There's room for a
We'll
bed.
crash some.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
lofts, there's
There's
loft
lofts.
space.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
done.
Well,
Easy.
Andrew, this has been great. So tell the lovely babes at home where they can find you. So you got a pop on Instagram. I love your Instagram. You're always putting up great reels.
Oh my gosh, it's so embarrassing. My sister's like, you need to do reels. I'm
Yeah.
like, I hate this.
Our social media person, my lovely wife, she's all about like she's all like, you got to get your SEOs right. You got to do all this.
You gotta upload it at this time. It's
Yeah.
more popular.
I know.
So
Yes,
so,
Instagram.
Your Instagram.
Yeah, so Communion Brewing is our Instagram and Facebook, and then our website is communionbrewing.com.au. We'll have a web store up there as of the time that this goes to air,
Yep.
which it will be well after probably early next week.
Yep.
Which is when the beer will be for sale. So
Awesome.
it should all go up, and we're looking to post it. Happy to send people a carton or a mixed carton or whatever.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just have to come back.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
have some frothies.
I like that. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. So this has been so good. We've had such a great time. We've learnt lots. And thanks for having a chat to us.
Pleasure. Cheers.
Thank you.